I'm David Carter, Speaker of the House and member for Calgary-Egmont. After question period today, the House will be moving to deal with a number of written questions on the order paper, followed by motions for returns. And then the member for Edmonton Mill Woods will be speaking to motion 209 dealing with occupational health and safety. The bill up for discussion at 4:30 today is Bill 205, is sponsored by the member for Banff-Cochrane, Children's Access Rights Enforcement Act. The House continues to deal with the estimates, and tonight when they reconvene at 8 o'clock, the department will be the Department of Health. Let us pray. We give thanks to God for the rich heritage of this province as found in our people. We pray that native-born Albertans and those who have come from other places may continue to work together to preserve and enlarge the precious heritage called Alberta.
Introduction of visitors, presenting petitions, reading and receiving petitions, presenting reports by standing and special committees, notices of motions, introduction of bills.
Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs.
I request leave to introduce Bill 30, the Securities Amendment Act 1991. The introduction of this bill is one more step to enhance investor safeguards in our rapidly changing financial marketplace. The purpose of the bill is twofold. First, to strengthen the enforcement powers of the Securities Commission in the interests of maintaining a secure and integral marketplace, and second, to extend the parameters of the Securities Act to include the regulation of futures trading in the province of Alberta.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs has moved first reading Bill 30, Securities Amendment Act 1991. Those members in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 30, Securities Amendment Act 1991, introduced by the Honourable Mr. Anderson, is now read a first time. Tabling returns and reports.
The Minister of Agriculture.
Mr. Speaker, I'm filing today with the Assembly the response to written question 180.
Thank you. Associate Minister of Agriculture.
Mr. Speaker, I am filing with the Legislative Assembly the answers to written questions number 307 and 308. In addition, I would like to table the annual report for the Canada-Alberta Soil Conservation Initiative, commonly referred to as CASCI, which covers the period from April 1, 1989 to March 31st, 1990, and the 1990 Farming for the Future Progress Report.
Minister of Recreation and Parks.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I would like to table 4 copies of an answer to question 175.
Introduction of special guests.
Can't be. No special guests? Recreation and Parks.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the member for Lloydminster, I am pleased to introduce to you and through you 58 students from the Holy Rosary School here to look at parliamentary democracy in process. They are accompanied by their teachers, Mr. Ray Pleteski and Mr. Tim Brochure. They are seated in the public gallery, and I would ask that they stand and receive the warm welcome of this house.
Edmonton Kingsway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you and to the members of the Assembly 14 members of the Sunshine Club from the Prince Rupert Community League in my riding. They are accompanied, of course, by their leader, Thelma Hodges, and they are in the public gallery. I would request that they rise and receive the warm welcome of the Assembly. One moment, it's Prince Charles Community League, not Prince Rupert. I just got that backwards.
Member for Calgary-Milliken.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really delighted today to introduce to you and through you to the members of the legislature 41 of the most eager, finest students you'll find in this old province from Father Damien School. And they're accompanied by their teacher, Juanita Roderick. And we have got quite a few of those from the school here. We got two of the school aides, Mrs. Caroline Barnes, Spams, and Mrs. Jan Mazur, and we got a volunteer, Bernice Williamson, and we also got the librarian. And they're sitting up in the members gallery, and I'd like for them to rise and receive the warm traditional welcome of the legislature.
Thank you for that.
Ministerial statements. Oral question period.
Before we begin, the chair has had representations from various parts of the House that indeed supplementary questions are being stretched out far too long. We've been attempting to try to cut off ministers who've tried to give supplementary information to ministers who've already spoken, so hopefully we can all try to cut down the time, because in the last number of days we've had 6 and 7 and 8 members being left in the wings, so I'm sure we'll have cooperation today. Leader of the Opposition, please.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Economic Development and Trade. Mr. Speaker, Albertans are well aware of the colossal mess Conservatives have made of economic development in this province. The secret backroom deals to backstop failing companies have cost taxpayers hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to date. But, Mr. Speaker, their irresponsible and clumsy practice of throwing mega dollars at certain favorite corporate friends has had another effect. It has completely skewed the market between companies who receive this corporate welfare and competitors who have not. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the Minister we've had a lot of complaints about this from the business community. Right. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately today, Canada Packers Incorporated announced that it will close its plants in Calgary and Lethbridge, and that 500 workers will lose their jobs because of this very practice, Mr. Speaker. My question to the Minister is this. Isn't it true that a major reason Canada Packers has closed its plants is that they are competing with almost entirely with government-subsidized corporations?
Mr. Speaker, no, that is not true. Again, the leader of the New Democratic Party is incorrect, whereby if he was to examine the record, and the record is very public, Canada Packers has accessed those same dollars through the Nutritive Processing Agreement and the Alberta Processing and Marketing Agreement, which falls under my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture. They have accessed exactly the same funds that companies such as Cargill has accessed. What we wanted to do was make sure that there was a further value-added component to the agricultural sector within the province of Alberta. In addition to that, the honourable member is totally inaccurate as he related to his lead into the question, whereby he said this province was a mess. The front pages of the newspapers today, plus the major headline stories, indicate that another major financial institution has indicated that Alberta is going to lead economic growth in all of Canada. Well, doggone it, we're happy that that is the case. Our economy is rated the best, and we're happy that we could play some small part in ensuring that Albertans have jobs and that this province continues to be in the forefront of economic growth.
Tell that to Canada Packers and the 500 workers that got laid off today, Mr. Minister. You tell them that, and that drivel, and see what they say. Mr. Speaker, the point is that this government has created the whole mess in the red meat industry by first of all handing its good friend Peter Pocklington millions of dollars, then it proceeded to fork over public dollars to every competitor of Canada Packers, including Lakeside, Centennial, and Cargill, the richest corporation.
Order. I'm sorry, I think we're well into the example that we really ought to now ask the question. Order on both sides, and let's have the question.
Well, Mr. Speaker, my question to this so-called free enterprise minister, this so-called free enterprise government, Mr. Speaker, would the minister explain to the people, because he's such a shrewd business type, Mr. Speaker, would he explain how a business can compete against its competitors if they are getting government subsidy?
Mr. Speaker, I just explained to the honourable leader of the New Democratic Party, and I'm happy to explain again. We had in place the Alberta Processing and Marketing Agreement, of which Canada Packers has accessed funding. The honourable member should check the record to make sure his questions are correct prior to putting them, because he's incorrect in that they haven't accessed it, because they have had money made available to them, as have other organizations within the further processing of our agricultural products, because we want to make sure, and we have made sure, whereby now the processing of agricultural products are the largest manufacturer within the province of Alberta. We've been pleased with the outturn of those events whereby we could create a value-added industry within the province. He suggests our involvement with gainers. He should talk to the mayor of the city of Edmonton, whereby the mayor has indicated to us on a consistent basis he wants to see our involvement continued because he wants to see those jobs maintained within the city of Edmonton. If he's saying something contrary to the mayor of the city of Edmonton, I would suggest that he sit down with her and work out their differences.
Mr. Speaker, that's absolute nonsense. The point is, you've screwed up the market. Now everybody's paying.
Hold it. Order. It's still order here. I'm sorry, we're still not using that phrase. Let's have the question.
Total medicine, Mr. Speaker, if that makes you feel better, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member, I don't care whether I feel better or not. Actually, I feel terrific. Thank you for asking. Let's have the question.
Mr. Speaker, let me make it simple for this minister. He gave Cargill, the richest corporation, private corporation around, a $4 million grant. Lakeside Centennial got a $10 million EDC loan, $5 million. Centennial Food Corporation, go all the way through, Mr. Speaker. All the way through, Mr. Speaker. The Deputy Premier is going to have a heart attack, Mr. Speaker. Rush out and get an attendant, please, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is simply...
All right, enough. Let's have the question.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if you can tone down the poor Deputy Premier, I'm worried about him, Mr. Speaker. But my question is to the minister is simply this. Take one of these examples, Cargill again, the richest private company on the continent. Can the minister explain why his government approved a $4 million grant to a corporation like this and justify this to Canada Packers and the workers at Canada Packers?
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member should examine the record. If he examines the record, he will find that the value-added component within the province of Alberta is slightly in excess of the primary production as it relates to agriculture. We are involved with in excess of $4 billion worth of value-added as it relates to the agricultural community. The agricultural industry itself has suggested that we help those industries to make sure that they do have access to those facilities so that that value-added component can take place within the province. That's why we've done it. One only has to examine what is taking place in other provinces, whereby they have lost those packing industries. We've maintained them to a larger degree, acknowledging though, and I acknowledge with a heck of a lot of regret, acknowledging that there is a rationalization within this industry whereby greater efficiencies are going to have to be placed within our packing industry itself. But we are going to do our level best, and we have done our level best as it relates to job creation on an equal basis throughout all of this province. It's interesting to note the honourable member.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honour. Whoa. Second main question without debating what the first one was all about. Please, Leader of the Opposition.
I just want to say I'm worried about the Deputy Premier, Mr. Speaker. He's going to have a heart attack, Mr. Speaker. But my second question is not to the Deputy Premier, but to the Premier, Mr. Speaker. To the, Mr. Speaker, I want to continue the discussion about what I believe is a cruel attack and the cutbacks of benefit for our senior citizens from the last budget, Mr. Speaker. From the callous statements of what's $100, Kowalski, to the flabbergasting perspective of the Premier, who seems to only know millionaire seniors, Mr. Speaker, one thing is clear. This government has absolutely no idea what its attack on seniors will mean to most of the elderly in this province. From their own income table, Mr. Speaker, in their own discussion paper, we notice the average income of seniors is $17,000. But more importantly, the median income, that is 50% of the seniors fall below this, they live on an average income of $12,242 a year, Mr. Premier. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Premier this. This is a Premier who finds it hard to live on $120,000 a year. Would he comment on these numbers for seniors and tell them what the rationale is for cutting benefits to seniors living on the edge of poverty?
My comment would be, Mr. Speaker, that we are increasing the dollars in the seniors programs in this budget, and we are making sure by constant assessment that we have the best programs for seniors in Canada.
I can't believe how callous an answer that is, Mr. Speaker. Our phones are ringing off the hook complaining about this Premier, Mr. Speaker, and he gives an answer like that. Mr. Speaker, the 1989 poverty line for a single person in Edmonton or Calgary is $13,511, and his government's own report reveals that 100,000 seniors live below that amount, Mr. Speaker. And I ask the Premier again, how does he justify, knowing those figures, how does he justify cutting $22 million from these seniors in the last budget, Mr. Speaker?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I guess we just have to keep educating the honourable member that the seniors programs in Alberta have had dollars increased. It's now close to $1.2 billion going towards seniors programs in Alberta. The dollars are an increase this year.
Mr. Speaker, I say this, Premier, stop the nonsense. There's cutback in benefits, and the Premier knows that, and the seniors know it, Mr. Speaker. And I want him to, instead of giving these answers, recognize that a lot of these people are living at the poverty level, Mr. Speaker, and I want him to say to the seniors, how does he justify when 100,000 people are below the poverty level with these cuts, instead of handing us that drivel, Mr. Speaker?
Again, Mr. Speaker, I've got to point out to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and it's too bad that when he has a weak case, he usually ends up screaming and yelling, trying to cover up for the weakness of his position. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, he knows, all members of the legislature know, that in this year's budget, seniors programs have been increased by some $75 to $200 million. It's gone from slightly over $1 billion to almost $1.2 billion. That is an increase, Mr. Speaker, and I know the Leader of the Opposition doesn't like it, but nevertheless, that's a fact.
Calgary Buffalo.
Go get him, John.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a Solicitor General who last year called members of the Supreme Court of Canada old fogies, who didn't know who the Aryan nations were, and who now shows contempt for the rule of law and our Charter of Rights by advocating guilt by association and has to either be re-educated, muzzled, or removed. Now, I don't know anybody who is happy about increasing youth gang violence and doesn't want to see tough penalties imposed for actual crimes of violence, gang or non-gang, related after a fair trial. However, all thoughtful Albertans have to be shocked at the Solicitor General's suggestion that mere membership in certain youth gangs be reason enough for deportation. In effect, guilt by association. And I'm wondering whether, to the Solicitor General, I'm wondering whether the Minister doesn't realize that a punishment on the basis of who individuals associate with is a slippery slope that we have seen that led to individuals being deported in this country and elsewhere on the basis of being members of labor unions.
Thank you. Thank you, honourable member. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, honourable member.
I have a great deal of difficulty, Mr. Speaker, knowing where the question was in that little tirade. However, I believe that the large majority of Albertans believe that the immigrants should be welcomed into this country with open arms. It's likely the greatest country in the world for new Canadians to come and make a new life. However, there are certain people in this country, including the Solicitor General of British Columbia, who have indicated that those who take out gang membership or become involved in gangs, which gangs' only involvement is in crime, in all probability should not continue to warrant the right to live in this country and should be deported summarily. I agree.
That wasn't apparently we have a lost cause there, Mr. Speaker, and I'm wondering whether, then to the Premier, whether or not the Premier is prepared to say whether the Solicitor General's views reflect the views of this government, and if not, will he clearly state to this province that we are not people of this province, that we're not going to support guilt by association.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, the supplementary question in no way relates to what the Solicitor General said. The Solicitor General was very clear with his comments.
Shame on you.
Well, to the Premier again, I'm wondering whether or not the Premier is prepared to acknowledge that a large part of our problem is the abysmal absence of programs for disadvantaged youth in Alberta, both immigrant and non-immigrant. It takes some steps to bring some of those programs into being so we don't have these problems in the future.
Hear, hear.
A large part of our problem is the lawyers that milk the system, keeping people like Charles Amy in Canada.
Honourable members, I'm sure it's springtime because you sound like a swarm of bees humming away. But really, we're wasting the time of your own members to get in. I don't care which political party you happen to be with. So now let's just stop the nonsense and we'll get on with hearing the questions from all honourable members. Calgary Bow, followed by Edmonton Strathcona. Honourable member, I said all sides of the House. Perhaps your sound system's not working there. I'm sorry. Calgary Bow.
Hey, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Honourable Minister of Municipal Affairs. There's still a lot of confusion and concern among the seniors regarding the recent program changes in the budget. Because of this confusion and distortions which now exist, much of which has been caused by the opposition members of this legislature, Mr. Minister, my constituents would like to know the truth about some of the other benefits enjoyed by Alberta seniors. Number one, has the property tax reduction...
Please, order. You might as well sit down. This is going nowhere. Forgive me, honourable member. Edmonton Jasper Place. Would you like to stand up and what does that mean?
I, for one member, am getting tired of the kindergarten atmosphere around here. It seems to me that we need to get this thing going. Move it.
I agree. Perhaps now you'll be good enough to listen to the member for Calgary Bow, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Minister, has the property tax reduction program been cancelled along the line, and is it going to be income tested now?
Mr. Speaker, there's two programs that run in tandem. One is the Senior Citizens Renters Assistance Program of $50 million. It's been in place for years and will remain in place. The other program is the program called for senior citizens, the Property Owner Tax Rebate of $70 million. That will stay in place as well, and as it's been for years and years.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's it.
Calgary Bow, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Minister, then, what about the seniors rental grant? Is that going to be cancelled in the future, in the next few years? We hear things that are projected into the future. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, we have made no plans to cancel that program, and the seniors of this province can be assured that their interest will be taken into full consideration at all times.
Edmonton Strathcona, followed by Westlock Sturgeon.
Mr. Speaker, my question is for the Minister responsible for human rights. The Solicitor General this afternoon has confirmed his ill-conceived suggestion that landed immigrants suspected of associating with members of criminal gangs be summarily deported. His proposal raises serious questions and concerns in immigrant communities that they will be judged by a different standard of law, and it raises serious human rights issues. Does the Minister support her colleague's suggestion, or does she acknowledge that it would be more appropriate, useful, and humane for this government to adopt other policies to discourage new Canadians from being drawn into a life of crime, such as improved English as a second language program, employment equity for immigrants legislation, and increased funding for settlement services instead of decreases as contained in the budget?
Mr. Speaker, the questions that the honourable member has addressed actually cover across a number of portfolios. The Minister for Career Development and Employment, for example, has responsibility for settlement services. There are 3 or 4 departments who have responsibility in prime delivery of English as a second language. However, as chair of the Multiculturalism Committee of Cabinet, I would say that, I will say this, we are focusing very much on programs that are of direct assistance to those people who have recently moved to Alberta and who have, in some cases, not the skills that those of us who have been here for a long time. Speaking English is one of those. And there is a very great focus all the way from early childhood school all the way up to English as a second language in the workplace that we are focusing on. And we continue to urge the federal government to increase its funding insofar as they have recently been withdrawing from that field as they have withdrawn from so many others recently.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister hasn't disavowed her support for the matters addressed by the Solicitor General, but the Attorney General, to his credit, has expressed his support for the principles of fundamental justice and disavowed I would ask that he confirm in this Assembly that he does not support measures that ignore due process, the presumption of innocence, or the letter and spirit of the Charter of Rights.
Mr. Speaker, I can assure the honourable member that the Attorney General, as Minister responsible for the administration of justice in this province, will ensure that the law is lived not only by the words but by the spirit, and that if any instance that an immigrant or any citizen of Alberta comes before the courts, they'll be treated fairly and by the rule of law.
Westlock Sturgeon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, this Premier held his constitutional flag high in the force of his own wind and said he had already decided on the decentralization of Canada. The people's input would be just a mere detail. He says he's an Albertan first, Mr. Speaker, but a lot of Canadian first out there today are very worried today. So to the Premier, does the Premier agree with Premier Barraza and the Belanger-Campo Commission when they say agriculture should be the exclusive prerogative of the provinces?
Mr. Speaker, as I pointed out yesterday and to the other premiers, Alberta has a special select committee which will be going throughout our province, getting input on matters of detail of our new constitutional package. And that is one of those type of matters that we'll be listening to Albertans to hear what their views are.
Mr. Speaker, Alberta's largest industry, biggest employer, is not a detail as far as the Constitution is concerned. Here. What is the Premier going to tell those cattle producers who sell 40% of their beef to Quebec about the whole question of saber rattling and that the provinces should be exclusively in charge of agricultural trade?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think the honourable member knows, I'm not sure, but I think he knows that agriculture currently is shared responsibility between the federal government and the provinces. However, Mr. Speaker, it may well be that in the coming weeks and months, as the Alberta Special Select Committee travels throughout our province, meeting with Albertans and getting grassroots input into the Alberta constitutional package, that will change, or that will, in our proposals to the federal government representing the people of Alberta, that matter will be dealt with. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, I want to make it absolutely clear that we are not getting into constitutional negotiations. We are not getting into constitutional negotiations before the Select Committee reports.
Does the chair recognize now that Calgary McKnight wants to come into the speaking order at this point? Red Deer North, followed by Calgary Forest Lawn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Acting Associate Minister of Family and Social Services. 2 days ago in the Assembly, some seniors from Red Deer in the gallery were confused by some deliberately misleading information about programs which was brought forward by the opposition. I'd like some clarification today by asking the acting minister to spell it out very clearly, not just for Albertans but also for members of the opposition. Has there been a change in health care premium policy for seniors?
In order to clear up the confusion created by the opposition and to assure all Albertans, indeed all seniors, of this government's commitment to their well-being, the answer is no, Mr. Speaker. There has been no change in this government's policy of providing nearly 270,000 Alberta seniors and their dependents with premium-free health care coverage. And, Mr. Speaker, nor is there any contemplation of any such change in the policy.
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the seniors' anxiety because of these opposition misrepresentations goes even further. And I would like to ask the minister to clarify again, not just for Albertans, but for the irresponsible opposition. Would he tell us today, do seniors now have to pay Blue Cross premiums that were formerly premium-free?
Mr. Speaker, the answer again is no. Let's make it perfectly clear, Mr. Speaker, that Blue Cross premiums will continue to be paid by the government, by the taxpayers of Alberta, on behalf of all 270,000 senior Albertans and their dependents.
Why is the opposition? Calgary Forest Lawn.
Mr. Speaker, it's one matter for the government to provide loan guarantees for risky financial ventures. It's another to ensure that these loans are properly backstopped. A good example of the government's failure to protect the public interest in this regard is the loan guarantee which was made to Alert Disaster Services. This loan provided a barge as part of Southern Alberta Institute of Technology's ill-fated Batam Island project. My question is to the Minister of Economic Development and Trade. Given that a receiver has been appointed for Alert Disaster Services, and that the government has paid out $4.5 million to the Canadian Bank of Commerce to honor the loan guarantee, will the Minister now tell us what the taxpayer is likely to recover from the sale of the barge, or is it the government's intention to sail the barge on Buffalo Lake as a tourist attraction?
Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, as much as I love to indulge in debate with the leader of the New Democratic Party and the Honourable Member for Calgary Forest Lawn, and recognizing that love, sometimes I respond on behalf of other ministers when I shouldn't. The Honourable Member should put that question to the Minister of Advanced Education, under whom that directly falls. The loan guarantee was offered to the Southern Alberta Institute because they wanted to have a training program put in place. So let me leave the Honourable Member with the assurance and acknowledging the absence of the Minister of Advanced Education that we are presently doing our level best to recoup the taxpayers' investment in this company, recognizing that there were opportunities as it related to training and also the opportunities for the sale of technologies that were developed within the province of Alberta. For that reason, we involved ourselves with Alert Disaster. It's far too early to indicate what losses will be suffered, but I should indicate again to the Honourable Member that it played a very important part in the sale of the technology that comes from the province of Alberta. That training barge is presently there, and I had an opportunity to view it some months ago, and we are hopeful that a sale will complete the end of our transaction.
Mr. Speaker, given that two private companies were smart enough to pull out of the Batam Island project early on, and that the government knew that SAIT had no legal authority to be involved in this project in the first place, what, if anything, has the Minister and this government learned from its involvement in this debacle, and what procedures are they taking to tighten up the process of granting these loans in the first place?
Hear, hear. Mr. Speaker, let me just reinforce what I indicated earlier. I indicated to the Honourable Member this file directly under the Minister of Advanced Education, of which he acknowledged himself, bringing SAIT into the question. He best put the question to him.
Stockholm.
Thank you, sir.
Member for Edmonton Calder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while this government doles out millions of dollars to failing companies, many families in Alberta are in desperate need of good quality out-of-school care for their children. Not surprisingly, and contrary to what the Premier said yesterday about standards in this province, Alberta is the only province which has absolutely no provincial standards or regulations in place for out-of-school care. To the Minister of Family and Social Services, given that children throughout Alberta are subjected to a wide variety of quality of out-of-school care, will the Minister begin immediately to introduce provincial out-of-school care standards to ensure high quality for all Alberta children?
Again, Mr. Speaker, I know that the members opposite seem to feel that it's up to the government to intrude into the lives of Albertans at every given opportunity, and that parents, Mr. Speaker, aren't able to make appropriate decisions for their children. Mr. Speaker, I'd also point out to the member that she seems to feel that municipal government aren't able to make those decisions in cooperation with parents. Mr. Speaker, the member knows that we're in partnership through a program called FCSS, that providing after-school care throughout this province, that in some instances municipalities have taken it upon themselves to put standards and requirements in place. But Mr. Speaker, again, I would remind the member opposite that this minister and this government have a great deal of confidence and faith in parents being able to choose appropriate placements for their children. The member opposite might not think that's appropriate, but I do.
Mr. Speaker, this province continues to lag behind every other province in this country, but that's not surprising. Mr. Speaker, in 1981, this government unofficially passed the responsibility of out-of-school care to municipalities, and of course now funds it through FCSS. Given You're nervous, aren't you?
Order, please. I know we all have great difficulty at times standing in this house to try to get to do what we're doing. And the chair well remembers being a nervous backbencher trying to stand up at any time to ask a question in this maelstrom known as question period. And it's right to have the succinct supplementary, but we don't need to start calling question when only 15 seconds have passed. Let's at least try to have the thing happen. But let's not all try to be sanctimonious about it either. So Edmonton Caller, please.
Mr. Speaker, given that out-of-school care uses up a huge amount of FCSS funds in many municipalities, will the minister act on the recommendation of the Intermunicipal Task Force on Out-of-School Care and fund out-of-school care separately and tie this funding to high quality of standard?
Mr. Speaker, I think municipalities have done an exceptional job of establishing priorities in their municipalities. One of the things that this government recognizes is that there is a need for partnership, and that municipal governments, I believe, are amongst the closest level of government to the citizens of Alberta. They're able to establish local priorities, local initiatives on I think, a very capable basis, Mr. Speaker, and they're doing that right across this province. I would add, Mr. Speaker, the member has raised the issue of child care in this province lagging. Mr. Speaker, this province is not lagging. This province is leading. This province is the only province in Canada, Mr. Speaker, that actually has a surplus of daycare spaces. I can tell you that the province of Ontario under an NDP government certainly hasn't met the demand for daycare, Mr. Speaker. I can tell you that the cost of daycare is certainly a lot higher in Ontario than it is in Alberta, because we know, Mr. Speaker, in Alberta, we have the most affordable daycare in all of Canada, with the exception of one province, and that's being the province of New Brunswick, which is marginally less. So, Mr. Speaker, we are leaders when it comes to providing child care in this province, and we're going to continue to lead the way, Mr. Speaker.
Calgary Northwest.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a few hours ago, we learned that Canada Packers is closing its Calgary and Lethbridge slaughtering and packing plants. I guess we can consider this to be the fruits of this government's involvement in the red meat industry. My question is to either the former or the current Minister of Agriculture, whichever one wants to answer it, respecting with the current Minister of Economic Development and Trade then, with respect to the red meat industry. While some rationalization, of course, in the red meat industry is required, does this government and this minister believe that it should be not the members and not the firms that can compete in the open market, but only those that get subsidized by this government that should be surviving in this? What's going on?
Mr. Speaker, as my colleague, the Minister of Economic Development and Trade, pointed out rather clearly, there has been in place in this province for some time a program called the Agricultural Processing Marketing Agreement, to which various firms involved in secondary ag processing qualified under certain formulas. I would hardly call that a subsidy. The honourable member did recognize, I think, in his opening remarks that rationalization is necessary in the beef sector. I would submit to all members that if rationalization hadn't taken place in the beef processing and slaughtering business in this province, it would have probably all slipped south of the line. And I've indicated to this assembly before that there's going to be some further rationalization in the meat processing sector, and while it's painful and affects certain employees in one area and maybe opens up new job opportunities in another, it's a necessary part of a maturing industry.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal opposition learned from officials at Canada Packers that it's unequal government involvement in the red meat industry that caused this company to make the decision to close down. So my supplementary to the minister then is, will the minister commit to stopping all ad hoc funding of the red meat industry, let them look after themselves as the minister knows they've asked for themselves?
Mr. Speaker, the program that I described earlier, as the Honourable Minister of Economic Development and Trade explained, Canada Packers were eligible for, and they've used it in rather significant ways. They did not choose to use it in the meat packing industry. They used it in edible oils and those types of arms of their firm. I think it's fair to say that I don't believe we have put ad hoc financing into the sector. We've put it in through programs. I think we stated very clearly on behalf of the meat packing task force of this government, once we put the commercial loan in place with Lakeside, that was the last major involvement in the meat packing rationalization, unless someone was doing something in a significant way to enhance value adding in this province.
Calgary McKnight.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question today is to the Minister of Education. A number of parents in Alberta have, for a variety of reasons, made the decision to provide their children with schooling at home. According to the School Act, this is perfectly legitimate, and certain legal requirements are in place to assure supervision and quality. This supervision is to be provided by the local school district. Because I've heard a lot of concern about supervision being sporadic, uneven, and about standards being lax, my question is, what assurance can the minister give this assembly that all children in homeschooling are receiving an adequate education?
Were the Liberals opposed to it?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm not quite certain whether the honourable member is expressing her Liberal Party view that they are opposed to homeschooling. They are opposed to choice, opposed to parents making a choice as to where they want to have their children educated. But I would invite the honourable member that if she is aware of a concern of a child who is not getting a proper education, that she bring that to the attention of the Minister of Education.
Right. Mr. Speaker, the minister knows that I am all for parental choice and always have been. What I would like to know is if the minister would present a report in this assembly, including basic test skill results and so on, so that we can dispel the fears that many have about homeschooling.
They don't like mothers educating their
Mr.
children.
Speaker, I know where the honourable member for Calgary McKnight stands, but I also know that her party is opposed to choice by parents, allowing parents to make a choice for their children. I know where she stands, but her party and she are at odds with one another. But, Mr. Speaker, I would repeat that we have spelled out in the School Act provision whereby parents may make that choice, and where school boards who are responsible for that child who is being educated in his or her home, that funding goes to that school board. And that school board then has a responsibility to ensure that the child is getting an education, that child and his home is visited from time to time by the teacher, consultant, homeschooling person responsible. And again, if the honourable member knows of a child in this province who is not getting the education that he or she is rightfully entitled to, then it's incumbent upon the honourable member to provide that information to my office.
Yeah, and Liberal, Graham Prairie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too have a telephone that rings off the hook, particularly recently with the confusion that's out there in the form of reporting news. Not the good news, but the distorted news relative to the information going out about our seniors programs. And I'd like to ask the Acting Associate Minister of Family and Social Services, are our Alberta seniors now going to be able to access updated benefits under the Aids to Daily Living program for diabetes and power wheelchairs, or do seniors have no access to these benefits?
Well, Mr. Speaker, again, I appreciate I know the Honourable Associate Minister of Family and Social Services would appreciate the answer with the question, and I want to again clear up the confusion and the fear that's been created by the opposition, and to assure Alberta seniors of this government's commitment to them. And the fact is that, Mr. Speaker, this government has, quite properly, reviewed the Alberta Aids to Daily Living program to ensure that more contemporary benefits are provided to better meet Albertans' needs. And, Mr. Speaker, we have done that, and we've done it in such a way that the changes will be available to all Alberta citizens and will be of great benefit to our Alberta seniors. And some of the new benefits, Mr. Speaker, include power wheelchairs, that include ostomy supplies, mastectomy prostheses, suction therapy equipment, and something that many Albertans have been calling on us to do, and that is to ensure the diabetic monitoring supplies. The Canadian Diabetic Association has been calling for this. Many Albertans across the province have been calling this for years, and this government has responded. And we now have a program that's suitable for Albertans in the 1990s, and it meets their needs.
What a good government.
Mr. Speaker, another place where confusion is being spread around is with respect to the following question. Do seniors not get any dental or optometric benefits in Alberta now, as in the case in other provinces?
Mr. Speaker, Alberta seniors will continue to receive dental and optometric benefits as they always have in the past, Mr. Speaker. And this is a unique program. When I look at Ontario, when I look at British Columbia, when I look at Manitoba, those provinces do not provide the kind of benefits for optometric and dental care that we in this province do. And yes, Mr. Speaker, we are now asking Albertans to share, seniors in Alberta, to share 20% of the costs of this program, so that this year, Alberta seniors will be eligible for up to $1,000 of free benefits under the dental and optometric plan.
Calgary, Glenmore, followed by Edmonton Millwoods.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I would like to take a moment to commend the Minister of Economic Development and Trade on his recent news release regarding the government's initiatives and contributions of $100,000 to the Canadian Red Cross Society for relief and assistance to the people in the Persian Gulf. We talk about poverty in Alberta, but we all must realize that people in other countries in other parts of the world are suffering beyond our imagination. And while there is a cry for money to provide humanitarian assistance and protect victims of conflict, especially the Kurds, I'm concerned that the reports that we are receiving are indicating that the packages are not getting to these people. How can the Minister of Economic Development and Trade assure this Assembly that the government's contribution will in fact reach these needy people?
Mr. Speaker, let me begin by paying tribute to all members of this Legislative Assembly, whereby a motion some time ago was passed unanimously indicating that we should further offer support to the Kurdish people, recognizing the difficult circumstances that do exist in the Persian Gulf. I had the opportunity, as the Honourable Member indicated, to announce jointly with the Red Cross that we are going to offer $100,000 from the Government of Alberta on behalf of the residents of the province of Alberta to this very worthy cause. We have full faith in the excellent work that the Red Cross does do, and I had an opportunity to pay tribute to their involvement as it relates specifically to this instance, but also their involvement worldwide. And we do have full faith that this money will go to those who are in need, recognizing the outstanding contribution that the Red Cross has made on a consistent basis throughout the world.
Since the start of the Alberta program for international assistance, how much money has the Alberta government contributed to the non-government organization, or how much does this compare to other provinces across Canada?
Mr. Speaker, since the Alberta Agency was established in 1974, there have been contributions of some $80 million. We're delighted that we can play a small role in a support way to what is traditionally a federal government obligation. We initiated this recognizing that it is a federal government obligation, but we want to supplement the generosity of Albertans by involving ourselves through the Alberta Agency. We have contributed some $80 million, and it is much, much more than any other province does do in Canada.
Today we were able to get 3 more questions in than yesterday. Chair appreciates the fact that most honourable members were much better and speedier at getting their supplementary questions out. It still, however, left 5 people waiting in the wings. Before we deal with orders of the day, before we deal with a point of order, might we revert to the introduction of special guests? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. First, Calgary Bow, then Edmonton Kingsway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's my privilege to introduce to you and through you to this Assembly 60 very capable students from Queen Elizabeth High School in the constituency of Calgary Bow. They are accompanied by their teachers, Scott Buchanan and Gail Hicks. I would ask them now to stand and receive the warm welcome of this Assembly.
Edmonton Kingsway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you and to the members of the Assembly 13 students from the Coralwood Junior Academy in my riding. They are accompanied by their teachers Tony Reeves and Marilyn Menninger. I believe they are in the public gallery. I ask them to rise and receive the warm welcome of the Assembly.
Point of order, Westlock Sturgeon.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's citation 410, subsection 5 in Parliamentary Rules of Beauchene with regard to the question of the Honourable Member for Red Deer North directed to the Acting Minister for Seniors. The Acting Minister for Seniors came back to an answer on the Blue Cross, Mr. Chairman, saying that there was no change in premiums, but the Acting Minister forgot to mention there had been a great reduction in the coverage that Blue Cross is making for the same premium.
Well, thank you, Honourable Member. You've just answered your own question with respect to the point of order. It is not. Thank you. Orders of the day.
Written question.